Anyone with a semi-functioning mind will tell you that Systema absolutely sucks as a martial arts. One of my commenters left a DM and said, Steve, Sensei Seth just did a video about Systema. It's right up your alley. Sensei Seth, I tried the world's strangest martial art. Let's see if this video either changes my mind or solidifies my thoughts.
This is Systema, and a lot of people think it's one of the weirder martial arts out there.
Okay, so first, the way we like to start in Systema is you just lie flat on the ground and you're...
Done. As soon as you lay down, I'm walking out.
So one of the aspects of Systema is that we're trying to optimize for relaxed power. He just goes forwards, backwards. And as a bonus, I will know his scent forever.
Oh, I like that. A little bit of humor to break up the fact that this martial art is just ridiculous.
Was it leg day yesterday? It feels like it was leg day yesterday, yeah.
This is how Systema guys gain a little bit of like confidence. They go, oh, you can't deal with me stepping on your quadriceps? Come on. You know, karate ain't the shit then, right? Jiu-jitsu? The fuck out of here. If you can't let me stand on your quads, Systema, baby. 1 point on the board. Look at him, look at the guy on the left. He's like, yeah, told you. He stands, it hurts, right? Systema.
Just walks up and down, and my job is to breathe, survive.
It's just homoerotic, really. That's all I'm seeing so far. Changed my mind. Yeah, but jiu-jitsu does it. At least we have a goal of strangling each other, all right? At least the goal is to hurt the person. Look at Seth's face. This says it all.
This is Glenn Murphy. It's not Jason Statham. I know you're thinking it. And this is Sensei Endo. He is here because he wanted to watch me get beat up.
Seth, nice guy, right? Won't say the things that we're all thinking, so I'll do that. The Strangle gang support Icy Mike tremendously. He's one of the few creators in the space that reached out when I started experiencing some form of growth, and he was just a really cool human being. Him and Ramsey Dewey. And I saw Seth was on Icy Mike's channel, so now I'm watching the first video of his, and so far, just incredible content. Similar to our other guy, Jesse Enkamp. Two guys make really original content. I'm a fan.
Is put your arms out straight, leave your arms where they are.
Now, these are...
Well, that's interesting. We actually used to do that quite a bit. Danaher would always have us doing these sort of inversion drills.
I'm ready to start learning the techniques of Systema.
I'm supposed to move, right? Yeah.
What I'm assuming is when an art has absolutely nothing to offer, they'll fill up with fodder. So they'll front load everything you're learning with just bullshit. As opposed to a real structured martial art where you go in and right away it's super condensed technique, which is what you want. You want to evolve. You want to leave better than you came in.
There's lots of ways to absorb strikes, right? One is just abs of steel, right? So I have to time it, right? Or keep...
Come on, Seth, give him a fucking good one.
Right. The second one is I'm not super well versed in it, so I'm not going to talk a lot, but you see people absorbing strikes with movement. The third way, which we prefer, is with pressure. You create kind of a little bit of a wall of abdominal pressure, and then you let out the exact amount that the person punches you with. Okay, sounds weird.
It definitely sounds a little weird.
You know why it sounds weird? Because it doesn't work. If you just cut out the fist, and you just get Seth's face and the other guy's face, and with those sound effects, right? Incredible.
You can get one there. Good.
That hurt him. That last one hurt him. Seth turned that one over a little bit.
I'm relaxed enough to do things after you hit me. Right, I can do things.
Okay, you can do things. Well, he's not in a stance to actually be fighting you with his right hand up, bladed stance. What are you saying? What the fuck are you saying?
That's why we tend not to kind of defend the body that much with our arms in Systema. We're just like, if I take one in the body, I'll trade that for a headshot. Like, we don't care.
Oh, you don't care. So if I touch you in the liver, you don't care. You don't know fucking that the body hurts more than getting hit in the head. You don't know that though, because you've never been in a fight. See, maybe he has been in a fight, this guy, but in general, whoever created this kind of concept, it bothers me. You just take him so you can hit him in the head. What about if he rips you to the liver and as you go to throw a hook, he turns his forehead towards your fist? I mean, just enough, all right?
They also supposedly have these super heavy punches.
Sure. And then you have to choose, am I going to hit him with the first couple, or am I going to hit him with the back? But for the most part for Systema, we're going to try and make contact with as many knuckles as possible. Okay.
Everything he learned in karate is going out the window. Seth is like, oh, I've been learning about how to properly punch and which knuckles to punch with since I was a child. What are you saying?
Okay. And we practice that on the wall. You can relax as much as possible while keeping a sturdy fist and wrist. Then this is not too bad.
I could find better things to do with my time than doing handstands against the wall into push-ups.
When you hit people, you can get a bit brave sometimes. You're like, he's squishy. To variable effects, right? And so I can afford to ask somebody to hit a wall and you see a very different punch. And this wall's a little bit flimsy. I've gone through a few in my time, so I'm not gonna...
Do you have a monster energy?
I used to put holes in the wall too when I was a kid. Bad temper, anger management. We're doing better these days though, so.
And what you'll see is that you shape your fist and your arm in a slightly different way, right? And as I hit you, it feels fairly robust, right? Because it's like, I'm up.
Seth said no. He says, no, I've competed in martial arts competition. This is nothing.
I see.
I see. What? Seth really means I can't tell the difference.
I'm going to push from my foot and move my hip with my foot.
Okay.
Right. This is the weird stuff when you see it online. People like doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I could very easily clip just that.
To be fairly clear, this is not really our style. This is not the style that Vladimir Vasiliev teaches that much.
Right.
And stuff like there's different styles of system.
Vladimir Vasiliev. He's like, no, that's the peak. It's Vladimir Vasiliev? Check out my Vladimir Vasiliev video. Do yourself a favor. Finish watching this first and then click on that one.
All I'm doing in this is letting the wave of momentum go all the way through my body. So instead of trying to carry it all at once, right, I basically move my hip with this, and then I throw my chest to my shoulder. I feel stupid doing it.
Leave it at that.
Right, and it will go in, right? So it will work, right?
Question, how do you apply that in like a moving around scenario?
Thank you. Can someone break the fucking awkward? There's an elephant in the room. The elephant is, does this work? If you're moving laterally, does this work? If there's feints involved, how does this translate to a real life situation? And Seth's now starting to, halfway through the video, like, let's get to the facts here.
Do you spar with this kind of thing? Like, do you put on gloves and use these techniques?
He's already looking for an angle. Ready?
The moving targets are each other. We don't use focus bits, and we don't use
so you spar.
Because again, we're
you don't use gloves.
trying to entrain this aspect of like how do you keep solid
the purity
targets.
of the contact.
Yeah, and like I don't want to get too confident about my ability to just throw hard hands and then break something and that sort of stuff, right?
So they don't spar. Translation, they don't spar. So they don't use big gloves because they don't want to affect the integrity of developing their fists and the whole spiel there. And they also can't hit each other because they'll hurt each other with bare knuckles. That makes sense. So you don't spar.
Usually when people say stuff like this, it leads you to believe it's not the most applicable. But he was having a class later that day, so I could try firsthand.
Let's go.
And needless to say, it was interesting.
I mean, like, we took a break from the homoerotic and then we just went right back into it. Now, is there anything wrong with that? In the words of Seinfeld, absolutely not. But what's the purpose of it?
It was a grappling-centric day for the class. We ended up doing, it's not what I'm used to, but it fits the system.
Nah.
All of the stuff that we were doing, the rolling around, it started to turn into grappling.
Okay, sit cigar. Let's see some of the jiu-jitsu grappling-oriented stuff. Okay, the guy's trying to take Seth's back, but he doesn't have good alignment. Seth scoop gripping the legs. Bridging into the closed guard, but the guy takes his back. All right, so, just do real martial arts. So if you're a Systema person, and I'm sure a few of you will jump in the comments because you're all a bunch of schmucks, brainwashed cult members, say your part for sure. But also join a real martial arts club. You want to learn to strike, take boxing, kickboxing, karate, taekwondo, right? Take that. You want to learn to grapple, join your local wrestling team, join your local jiu-jitsu club, do your research on that, make sure it's a qualified coach. People want this one-size-fits-all thing, and it just doesn't exist. You don't need to do jiu-jitsu. Don't take a guy to the ground. Then why are they rolling on the ground? Because it happens in fights. And wouldn't you want to be great at that? Karate, some of the best movement in all of martial arts. The ability to close distance preemptively. Do the right thing, is all I'm saying. Do the right thing, put the work in. There's no shortcuts, it's hard. A lot of the time it's unenjoyable. There's lots of injuries, but you have to.
Here's where things start to really get fun. Knife work with the grappling.
I like this.
Which are great if I'm not armed, but once I'm armed, they become not so great, right? I can stab him a lot. I can work, it's difficult. So he has to see how he can work. And as soon as I realise I'm going to lose it, don't cling onto it and then get stabbed. Ditch it and work immediately to try and get the knife back again. So we're rolling around, kind of a freestyle high school buddies interpretation of grappling, and we're just reaching for the weapon. Now we'll watch the grappling phase. We'll talk about some of the sort of positional issues that might occur. Okay, so he takes the knife. No, he puts himself on his back. Let's say it's just for exercise purposes. Rolls him over so the guy has no base. So develop the base, right? Grapple, develop the base. Inside tie position with the right arm. Takes the... Okay, so he takes... This is what bothers me. But Steve, it's just not everything. Shut your mouth. Remember your mom, what we talked about your mom? Go cry to her? Go do that. He goes to a Kesikatami sort of scarf hold position. Why did he give up a cross-body position where he had control of the far shoulder? Notice that his opponent on bottom is now starting to sit up. Any decent athlete that's half bombed on the street is going to be able to now escape out towards your back. So when you peeled the knife, you should have stayed across body with an underhook. There was no reason to go to a scarf hold position where you're giving your opponent essentially a flank position to your back. Sneaky player.
He would have been stabbed, so he goes to a Kimura. I love the Kimura, peels the knife.
Okay, so just work.
I think there needs to be instruction that's like clear cut of what you need to do in a systemized way.
And slower than that, we did go. I have tons of bruises from just getting poked.
So good gift wrap position here, topside gift wrap.
By these not real knives.
Excellent. He enters into what we would call a straight jacket position to the back. We have double wrist control, cross wrist control.
It adds a little pressure to the rolling, and it completely changes the way that you do things for sure.
So what the issue would be there is it does change the immediacy and the risk involved with going for a weapon. But I would be careful going 2-on-1 on any given wrist, regardless if there's a knife or not, because what it does, you see Seth went 2-on-1 on the right wrist, is it'll always give your opponent the ability to throw up legs. It lowers the level of your head and it gives your opponent the ability to get out towards your left side, or I should say your right side, his left side. So those are just issues you see there. And the guy throwing up his legs for an arm bar.
Hey, remember
That was a penis stab right there. Seth with the penis stab.
earlier when I questioned if they throw those kind of punches during class? They do, and they usually punch each other definitely way harder than they were punching me. I got a nice little taste of it. What makes Systema like good? What makes Systema bad?
I think first and foremost, it's just like the honesty about what you're trying to achieve, right? There's a dishonesty sometimes with some people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? About what they're doing versus what the actual results are.
Well, that's the thing. When there's a disconnect between what's actually happening and what you expect, it's like, I don't want there to be a disconnect with you guys, right? Because you're watching this video and then you're not leaving a like, subscribing, and turning on post notifications. And sometimes there's a disconnect there, right? So do me a favor and do all of those things, and then we'll continue watching the video. You did it? All right, let's get back into it.
If all you're doing is training very, very slowly, and you never speed up and you never go full tilt, and, and also you never work with anybody who hasn't done Systema in one-on-one fights, right? If that's what you want to use it for, probably a bit delusional. But if you're training it for kind of a broad application, right? If you're training it for understanding yourself and fear,
more than
escaping from crashed cars and other stuff like that, right? You have to train for the thing you actually expect to do with it.
Very rarely do you have a martial arts experience that you expect to be one thing, and it has such a wide range from what it actually is.
Well, obviously, Seth experienced it subjectively. So we're sitting here from a third-party perspective, and I'm doing what I do, right? Which is bashing that thing, because that's what I do. But the guy seemed well-spoken. He seemed polite. His version of Systema seems so much more realistic than what we would have seen from guys in the past that I've covered on this channel.
Did Systema look a little goofy at times? Yes, 100%. But that was one of the more enjoyable classes, had some of the best information. Been one of the kindest rooms of people that I've been in.
That's cool. And that read through in the video as well. Everyone seemed to be really down to earth. I gotta say, enjoyable video. Shout out to Seth. I'm gonna link the original video in the description. If you wanna learn MMA type martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and some street defense stuff as well, check out my Patreon. It's gonna be linked in the pinned comment below. As always, Strangle Gang, I appreciate you, and I will see you with the next one. But one more thing. If you wanna watch more videos similar to this one, click one of the playlists that are about to pop up now.